What did your spouse keep secret from you until you were married? That she didn't actually like science fiction movies and Weird Al. That he actually hates chicken breasts. When we met, we were very poor students, so buying a whole chicken to carve up was the cheapest option. He knew I liked the leg, so we would eat the chicken breast without ever complaining or asking for another cut. He was due to inherit a really substantial sum of money. I was making budgets based on our social security and my income because I was still working. Truly jaw-dropping moment, and I was gobsmacked. Took a while to process. Me, I kept the secret. I am absolutely terrified of water slides and didn't tell my wife until we were on our honeymoon and I was standing at the top of a huge water slide, having a panic attack. She was so excited to go to this park that I convinced myself it would be okay. Welp, it was not. That she was very, very mean. That he was never in Vietnam and he didn't actually have PTSD. It was all an act. His ex-wife is the one who told me. I divorced his miserable ass. 8 years later, it turns out he can juggle, lol. That she had no intention of ever working, even though she had 6 figures of student loans. Yes, obviously we talked about it before getting engaged. She had promised me she was going to work full-time. I don't remember how this started, but one day, years into being together, I realized I had never seen my husband clip his toenails. I asked him when he does it because I was curious. It seemed weird. I had never seen him do such a mundane task. Thus began years worth of him messing with me and refusing to tell me, not for any reason other than I really wanted to know. And it drove me crazy. It's such a simple thing. Why wouldn't he tell me? Arg! Well, one day we had to move our heavy couch unexpectedly, and I found what I called the toenail graveyard. He didn't trim his toenails, he tore them off and apparently threw them behind the couch. The look on his face, he was mortified. I was so repulsed, I think I just walked away. Now that the jig is up, he clips his nails in the bathroom like a normal human, instead of tearing them off and hiding them around the house like some kind of demented feral beast. I fancy myself a well above average ping pong player, former tennis player. I usually beat my friends and colleagues and am always up for a game. My wife has never really shown any interest in any sports or games of any kind. Several years after we were married, we found ourselves randomly at a ping pong table in a public space, and she suggested we play. She wasn't terrible, better than that she in fact could hold a rally, had decent form, and placed the ball. Me, as we started rallying. What? How? Her shrugs. You never asked. Honestly, her humility is pretty sexy. That her side of the bed somehow comes with extra pillows, extra blankets, and apparently extra space. Meanwhile, I'm living on the edge, literally. He had a newborn baby with his ex. I didn't tell my spouse until 3 weeks before the wedding that my dad had been in prison for 10 years. I was very ashamed and thought they would think less of me. He can do a perfect Donald Duck impression. My spouse didn't tell me how awful their singing voice was until we got married. They used to lip sync to the radio in the car and I thought they were just shy. It wasn't until we were comfortably married that they finally belted out a song and it was hilariously off-key. Now, it's one of my favorite quirks about them, and we laugh about it all the time. That he was on an episode of Cops. His rage issues. He was very smart. He could do things I never thought of. He fixed things and solved problems. He always surprised me. I can tell you what I kept secret from my husband until after we were married. I'm independently wealthy. We don't have fuck you money, but compared to the way we were both raised, we are great. My mom couldn't afford milk when I was growing up. My husband's parents weren't much better off. My husband and I are millionaires. We can afford to put our kids through college if they so choose, or whatever else they want to do, and I can't tell you how good that feels. That he was an abusive cheater.